नोटिफिकेशन होता है, वो नोटिफिकेशन भी इधर आता है भाई. So sorry, I'm sorry to, my Hindi is very lay. Bhai साहब ऐसे होता है, I didn't say that, but sorry. डांट नहीं रही हूँ, नहीं डांट नहीं रही हूँ. मेरा हिंदी का कमजोरी ऐसे नहीं होते भाई, मैंने कह दिया. फिर मैं सोचने लगी वो probably is not मर्यादा language, so all right, that's okay. So the power to double the tax rate is only for emergency, doubling, and accordingly the provision has been incorporated in the Act for prior sanction of the Parliament. Prior sanction of the Parliament. Similar powers exist in other taxation laws also. And what we are doing now is nothing new or nothing unique. And moreover, this section mandates that we can do it only in public interest. So we can't be doing it just for some frivolous reason. Sir, again, Dr. Prabha Mallikarjuna and Supriya Suleji and Prasad Rao from TDP. So the power to add new goods to the schedule without requiring to come to the Parliament seems arbitrary and appears to be undermining the parliamentary processes. So we are seeking the approval of the Parliament for notifying more goods to the schedule. That's the power which we are seeking. And this will be done through notification. Again, the notification comes, places itself, we place it in the Parliament, and the members are given at least 30 days to have a look at it, and so on. Now, what are these goods? Now, what are these goods which will be added in the future, if at all? For example, sir, pan masala that is currently covered is the one with tariff classification 2106 9020. That's the HSN code number for pan masala. There may be many different variants which may come up in the future due to ingenuity of the industry. This should also be brought within the ambit of the levy. This would be notified by the central government without the requirement of coming to Parliament every time, each time. We notify that this seems to be very close to this 2106 9020, and therefore this also should be covered under the cess, the intent of which is already mentioned. It's a demerit good. It's a demerit good. I can't bring, let's say, shampoo into this. I can't bring besan or atta into this. Demerit good, which has probably some semblance with pan masala, or it is a pan masala becomes evolved, it becomes something else. There is a metamorphosis. From the beginning, the objective itself says it's only on demerit, sir, on pan masala. You want the word demerit put onto it? So this would be notified by the central government without requirement of coming to the Parliament, sir. So that is one thing which I want to explain, even as I'm responding to Dr. Prasad Rao. So metamorphosis is a product of ingenuity. Today what appears like pan masala, tomorrow can appear differently and named differently, but am I not going to be able to collect tax on it? I need to. So this issue of demerit, the statement of objects and reasons makes it clear that the proposed cess is carefully confined to the production capacity of specific demerit good, namely pan masala. The intent is unambiguous. The cess is limited to demerit goods such as pan masala and is being applied only where there is a clear fiscal space to do so. All right. All right, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, thanks. I've been explaining a lot of... I've heard you. Would you want to listen to me, please, for a minute? I've heard you. And in fact, sir, like the way you responded when you were talking as I came in, for every issue that you've raised, even on the previous, because you mentioned the previous, I have responded. And even now, on this bill, I'm sorry to say, you have misled the House, and I'm answering. There is absolutely no intention to step into the domain of GST taxation, sir, which remains exclusively with the GST Council. The design of the levy fully respects the constitutional scheme while enabling the government to mobilize resources for priority national objectives. Dr. Alok Kumar, I'm not sure if he's here, can the cess be imposed on advertising of specified goods? Was a question that he raised. Advertising is a service and is subject to the GST. Already it is subjected to GST. There is no proposal to include advertising in this cess. How will there be a reduction in the consumption of the commodity? Again, Dr. Sumati, Alok Kumarji, Prabha Mallikarjun. So once the GST compensation cess comes to an end, the effective tax incidence on pan masala, which is currently about 88%, which is 28% of the GST and 60% compensation cess, the 60% compensation cess will come to an end. 28% GST does not exist, so it will have to move to 40%, which is the tax for demerit goods. So it goes for 40. So from 88%, it will come down to 40%. So it falls down sharply. The GST Council approved the proposal to increase the GST rate to 40, which will be effective on a date in the future, near future, once the compensation cess gets over. If the tax incidence comes down, it will have unintended consequences of making pan masala considerably more affordable. We can't afford to leave it there. So there was a genuine concern that this unintended outcome of greater affordability of pan masala, which is highly addictive, low-cost demerit good, would not only compromise public health objectives, but also result in loss of government revenue. So we have a fiscal space, and therefore, we can't allow it to become cheaper and yet lose revenue. We wanted it not to be cheaper, but also make sure the revenue space is filled. So the name of the cess was a matter which was also raised. Are the pan masala consumers going to finance their national defense? Was a question raised. It's neither in the design nor in the intent. As I said, tax can be collected, it will be used, money is fungible. So there was also this observation which I think is very important and for which I will respond. Sweeping discretionary powers like inspection and abatement to be done by officers have been provided. This will increase Inspector Raj. It was a very legitimate question many honorable members had. I want to respond, sir. Pan masala has been long one of the most evasion-prone sectors. Even genuine manufacturers repeatedly express concern about spurious, illegitimate supplies that distort the market. In such a situation, it becomes essential to equip the administration with adequate tools so that fair and uniform standard of compliance is maintained across the sectors. So this protects revenue and also ensures a level playing field. So let me expand on how this is going to work. Machine capacity-based system will be implemented through a modern, technology-enabled and non-intrusive oversight mechanism. It will focus on transparency, objective parameters, minimal disruption to manufacturing activity, and so on. So there are three clear layers. First, it will be on a self-declaration. The manufacturer himself or herself says what is the capacity and speed at which their machine is running. They will also be allowed that if they need to change anything in the first declaration that they give, they will be in a position to change any addition or correction that they have to do. It is at that stage, it will be very quickly verified if their statements are all tallying and everything else. The second stage would be technology supported and a continuous oversight. And the third stage would be risk-based enforcement checks. So, after the initial verification, the system moves away from physical supervision towards technology-driven monitoring, using tools such as the CCTV coverage, tamper-proof sealing, and other automated safeguards. Further, to strengthen automation and reduce discretion even further, the design also anticipates phased adoption of motion sensors and integration with BIS standards in the future. So, beyond this, there are also elaborate appellate provisions with judicial oversight enshrined in the proposed legislation, where the original orders can be first reviewed or revised, and then appeals would lie with the appellate authority, and then the appellate tribunal, and then finally to the High Court, and if necessary, to the Supreme Court. So every layer of appeal is respected, and no denial of natural justice is even thought through. Sir, all these proposed levies are after a detailed study of the entire manufacturing process, because there were concerns voiced by many members saying a fixed levy on machine, irrespective of the produced quantity, will be detrimental for the small manufacturers. I want to address that concern of members about the small manufacturers. We did a detailed study in the ground, sir. The levy is designed based on the machine capacity, taking into account the speed of production and the weight of the individual packing that is produced by the said machine. Therefore, each owner of the machine will be charged based on the size and quality of the machine. However, first of all, in the GST itself, small units come under composition, so they don't have taxes levied on them if they're below a certain number. We have a progressive structure here. So we clearly, if I were to take an example, a machine producing up to 500 pouches per minute, with each pouch having a certain grammage, they will have to pay a certain amount. So like that graded fashion, we have assessed each of the machine and their speed and the total grammage that will go into each of the pouches, and then decided on the tax. But however, I need to underline the fact there is a separate category for manual processing. So the small units come under it. What special steps have we taken for those taxpayers who are into manual production? I'll just take a minute to explain that, sir. Based on a detailed study of the sector, the amount of cess for a unit which is engaged in wholly manually processed pan masala. Handmade has to be kept at 11 lakh rupees per factory. This is only 10% of the lowest cess amount applicable on the machine-based process. So the wholly man-made items are being given a very concessional treatment so that they are not affected. Although we are not encouraging people to shift into manual process and still be producing pan masala. So there is an element of deterrent. This will ensure that a unit engaged in handmade processes is not discouraged, but at the same time, they shall not be incentivized. So final bit, which is very important, on the cess collection till now. You're bringing one more cess. What happens to the cess that were collected earlier? Did you distribute it? You're sitting with a lot of collected cess, which is not given. I'll give you details, sir. So, cesses are not new, first of all. Article 270, I said, gives the union the power to levy cesses. But cess is always collected for a specific purpose.